Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Someone who manages a government agency or department. A person responsible for the administration of a business. Persons who administer the law. Having the function of carrying out plans or orders, etc. The executive branch. Someone who manages a government agency or department. Someone who administers a business. The party appointed by a probate court to distribute the estate of someone who dies without a will or without naming an executor. A person responsible for the administration of a business. Putting a condemned person to death. Law. The completion of a legal instrument, such as a contract or deed, by signing it, and perhaps sealing and delivering it, so that it becomes legally binding and enforceable. The act of accomplishing some aim or executing some order. The act of performing, of doing something successfully, using knowledge as distinguished from merely possessing it. A routine court order that attempts to enforce the judgment that has been granted to a plaintiff by authorizing a sheriff to carry it out. Unlawful premeditated killing of a human being by a human being. Computer science. The process of carrying out an instruction by a computer. A person who is in charge. Computer science. A tiny electromagnetic coil and metal pole used to write and read magnetic patterns on a disk. Be in charge of. Who is heading this project? A person who is in charge. The head of the whole operation. That which is responsible for one's thoughts, feelings, and conscious brain functions. The seat of the faculty of reason. I couldn't get his words out of my head. Be the first or leading member of a group and excel. This student heads the class. The educator who has executive authority for a school. The upper part of the human body or the front part of the body in animals contains the face and brains. He stuck his head out the window. Travel in front of, go in advance of others. The procession was headed by John. The part in the front or nearest the viewer. He was at the head of the column. A line of text serving to indicate what the passage below it is about. The heading seemed to have little to do with the text. A V-shaped mark at one end of an arrow pointer. A difficult juncture. Matters came to a head yesterday. Forward movement. The ship made little headway against the gale. Oral stimulation of the genitals. They say he gives good head. A dense cluster of flowers or foliage. A head of cauliflower. The subject matter at issue. Under the head of minor Roman poets. Direct the course. Determine the direction of traveling. The source of water from which a stream arises. They tracked him back toward the head of the stream. A natural elevation, especially a rocky one that juts out into the sea. Grammar. The word in a grammatical constituent that plays the same grammatical role as the whole constituent. A membrane that is stretched taut over a drum. An individual person. Tickets are $5 per head. A projection out from one end. The head of the nail. A rounded compact mass. The head of a comet. A single domestic animal. 200 head of cattle. A user of, usually soft, drugs. The office was full of secret heads. Be in the front of or on top of. The list was headed by the name of the president. Form a head or come or grow to a head. The wheat headed early this year. Nautical. A toilet on board a boat or ship. Remove the head of. Head the fish. Take its rise. These rivers head from a mountain range in the Himalayas. That part of a skeletal muscle that is away from the bone that it moves. The foam or froth that accumulates at the top when you pour an effervescent liquid into a container. The beer had a large head of foam. The front of a military formation or procession. The head of the column advanced boldly. The length or height based on the size of a human or animal head. He is 2 heads taller than his little sister. The pressure exerted by a fluid. A head of steam. The rounded end of a bone that fits into a rounded cavity in another bone to form a joint. The head of the humerus. The striking part of a tool. The head of the hammer. The tip of an abscess, where the pus accumulates. The top of something. The head of the stairs. To go or travel towards. Where is she heading? Usually plural, the obverse side of a coin that usually bears the representation of a person's head. Call heads or tails. A person who is in charge. The head of a tribe or clan. A person who exercises control over workers. Most important element. The chief aim of living. Someone who administers a business. The persons, are committees or departments etc., who make up a body for the purpose of administering something. He claims that the present administration is corrupt. The act of meting out justice according to the law. The act of governing, exercising authority. The tenure of a president. Things were quiet during the Eisenhower administration. A method of tending to or managing the affairs of some group of people, especially the group's business affairs. The act of administering medication. The persons, are committees or departments etc., who make up a body for the purpose of administering something. A wind instrument that consists of a brass tube, usually of variable length, that is blown by means of a cup-shaped or funnel-shaped mouthpiece. A memorial made of brass. Impudent aggressiveness. The section of a band or orchestra that plays brass instruments. An alloy of copper and zinc. An ornament or utensil made of brass. The persons, are committees or departments etc., who make up a body for the purpose of administering something. He quickly became recognized as a member of the establishment. An organization founded and united for a specific purpose. The cognitive process of establishing a valid proof. Ecology. The process by which a plant or animal becomes established in a new habitat. The act of forming or establishing something. It was the establishment of his reputation. Any large organization. A public or private structure, business or governmental or educational, including buildings and equipment for business or residence. The persons, are committees or departments, etc., who make up a body for the purpose of administering something. The governance of an association is responsible to its members. The act of governing, exercising authority. The persons, are committees or departments, etc., who make up a body for the purpose of administering something. The persons, are committees or departments, etc., who make up a body for the purpose of administering something. An ordered manner, orderliness by virtue of being methodical and well organized. The act of forming or establishing something. The activity or result of distributing or disposing persons or things properly or methodically. A group of people who work together. The act of organizing a business or an activity related to a business. An organized structure for arranging or classifying. The persons, are committees or departments, etc., who make up a body for the purpose of administering something. An ordered manner, orderliness by virtue of being methodical and well organized. His compulsive organization was not an endearing quality. The act of forming or establishing something. He still remembers the organization of the club. The activity or result of distributing or disposing persons or things properly or methodically. His organization of the workforce was very efficient. A group of people who work together. The act of organizing a business or an activity related to a business. He was brought in to supervise the organization of a new department. An organized structure for arranging or classifying. The facts were familiar, but it was in the organization of them that he was original. A chief officer or chief magistrate. The prefect of Paris Police. The head of the United States Intelligence Community and director of the Central Intelligence Agency. A government administrator. A member of a commission. The head of the United States Intelligence Community and director of the Central Intelligence Agency. A person who is a chief administrator, as of the United Nations. One of a group of three sharing public administration or civil authority, especially in ancient Rome. An executive officer ranking immediately below a president may serve in the president's place under certain circumstances. An executive officer ranking immediately below a president may serve in the president's place under certain circumstances. The head of the United States Public Health Service. The senior medical officer in an army or navy. An executive in a business corporation. American Indian medicine man who attempt to make it rain. Executive who is very successful in bringing in business to his company or firm. A person authorized to conduct religious worship. Clergymen are usually called ministers in Protestant churches. A diplomat representing one government to another ranks below ambassador. A person appointed to a high office in the government. Attend to the wants and needs of others. I have to minister to my mother all the time. The job of a head of a government department. Work as a minister. She is ministering in an old parish. A person appointed to a high office in the government. An executive in a business corporation. The executive under President George H. W. Bush. The executive under President George W. Bush. The executive under President Reagan.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.